One, two, three.
Welcome to all our comrades around the world to the Socialist Sunday Stream.
Welcome everybody to the Socialist Sunday Stream. No Sunday Stream without technical difficulties and OBS shenanigans. And yeah. Okay, so
Right on.
we got Gutian with us. We got the real deal, the Gush, the thing that is going on right now on the Breadtube, and fantastic comrade and great video essayist. So welcome with us. So glad to have you with us, really.
I don't know if I'd ever describe myself as a video essayist, but I like to think of myself as more of a propaganda maker
There you go.
because the videos are nowhere near close to like video essay size.
Oh yeah, I mean, not the long ones, but they're short too. Yeah, I know. I like how you put the arguments there in line, and it works like a charm. So for me, counts as essayist. But then again, I'm an ignorant, and so is everybody else.
But I have to say, I think that most recent video you have, maybe it's the most recent or maybe not, but I really liked your uncontroversial take on trans issues. Your most recent one, I think it was concisely summarized as "trans rights are human rights." And then that was it. Just music playing, which is just fantastic, and I think probably necessary.
It was the attempt to sort of like I was just trying basically like when you have like there's a big thing like people forget when you have a big video. Almost like guaranteed the next video that you make, people are gonna like automatically assume that the next video is that like directly linked to the one before it. That's like if the one before it blew up or something. So I was like, I can't make any video until I've made like a palette cleanser basically to just like let me just like say something and I can just move on to like doing an actual video.
Absolutely, yeah. Just clear the air, I suppose.
Because I have another video that's going to be releasing after the stream actually. Another proper 10-minute video essay thing on Prager University.
Oh, nice. What are your thoughts on it? Is Prager University good, or what do you think?
So here's the thing: Prager University, because I know a lot of people have like done like kind of stuff like, oh, Prager University is so like silly, they're so useless, like they're laughably bad at like presenting facts and stuff. But we're in the populist period of time right now. The facts don't matter anymore, unfortunately. It's down to can they get their reach to people? Can they get access to people? That's all that fucking matters anymore. So is PragerU very effective for that? And the answer is yes. 100% PragerU is incredibly effective at muddying the waters of public discourse with basically stuff that doesn't like it's not going to convince anybody, but it might make them like question their beliefs and that kind of thing. That's all you need to do to sort of like put seeds of doubt in people. So I'm basically just like arguing like, hey, like we need to move. We need to start mobilizing with regards to like how we like are prepared to deal with this kind of thing, because obviously the alt-right is dying, if not on their way to being dead. As far as like a channel, as I've heard YouTube channels go, the alt-right's not really a big player anymore. Like the channels are big, but most of them are losing subs pretty quickly, and most of them have like got views of like 10% of their sub count or like 5% of their sub count, which is incredibly atrociously bad. Like that's depressing to have that kind of view count. But they're dying, sure. But the right wing and the conservative channels, like Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin and all that shit, they're still huge. They're still big, and they're still gaining massive amounts of views and subs. So they're the problem. Like they're the focus that everyone needs to move to. Like we need to deal with them next, basically. That's where Breadtube 2.0 comes in.
What ideas do you have for Breadtube 2.0? Can you share them now, or is this all the gold? Would that be spoilers for your next video?
Breadtube 2.0 is all of the wonderful new creators that are popping up in the past like year, basically. All the people who are, from what I've seen so far, Breadtube 2.0 seems to be a lot more evolved. It seems to be a lot more like socially connected. It seems to be a lot more trying to like branch out and do different stuff. Compared to, like the old sort of Vanguard was a little bit kind of samey, and they all had like all they did was like 40-minute videos basically on like with like pretty decent like essays and like philosophical or theoretical like discussions and shit, and which is all great for what they were doing, but we need to expand what we're doing out. Let's go in the future.
A really good point, and that sort of ties into your, I think, one of the videos where you really sort of start to gain some sort of following, some sort of audience, was your letter to Big Breadtube. Do you want to basically just give like a brief summary of what that was for anyone maybe who's watching who hasn't seen that? Because I think that was one of your most significant early works.
Yeah, so the open letter to Big Breadtube was effectively me consolidating a bunch of discussions that I'd had with other content creators on Discord and stuff into this kind of like, okay, so the larger Breadtubers, people like, and they don't like Breadtube. I know some of them don't like it at all. They like to prefer left wing YouTube, or maybe they don't even like to be associated with any movement at all because they've made that kind of clear post the video. People like Philosophy Tube, ContraPoints, Hate Bomber Guy, T1J as well, I guess to a degree, Peter Coffin, that kind of stuff. Lindsay Ellis, because they're kind of left leaning. But all of them, they don't do much with regards to like uplifting other people so much. They don't, like I said, like compared to a lot of like, if you look at people like with regards to like the more like new kind of wave of people like the serfs or non-compete or all that kind of stuff, like they're much more involved in trying to like actually direct an audience towards like newer content creators and to like push people out there, which is and it's kind of like that's like I'm happy to concede the fact that like I said the I think it's like like feminism, like first wave Breadtube is what I like to call them. The first wave of Breadtube is like they were great for getting the movements, for getting these ideas started and all that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, you have to build on what they've done. Like we can't just kind of like wallow in what they've kind of done because then it just goes nowhere. So we're in second wave Breadtube right now, and we just have to like make sure we don't end up like second wave feminism and just go really transphobic and shit. That would be ideal if we could avoid the shit that second wave feminism ended up getting into.
Let's not do that.
Let's avoid that.
To avoid the transphobia.
How would you like proceed from here? And I also wanted to ask you if you thought what right-wing people in terms of their optics and what they're doing that we could potentially, not in terms of their ideas obviously, but or how they're able to get more people to view their content.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually something I've now thought about a lot. I know that other people out there are doing a lot of stuff with regards to this work. Yet again, non-compete, great example of this. As someone who like he's obviously very talented, especially with regards to like the big thing that I feel like the left hasn't been very good at, which is like getting better with it is marketing, advertising, making what you're doing linkable, making it more spreadable to like a larger audience on the sort of systems that we're working with here in a day, because we're stuck working the systems that we're stuck working with. So we need to try to, if at least not like mask the message, like if you can just like build the message in a way that like YouTube doesn't necessarily pick up on it too easily, and like you can kind of like maybe push it through to more people, which is like I said, like basically that's like because we at the end of the day, we can't really compete with the likes of Ben Shapiro or Philosophy Tube for advertising money, because they have a huge amount of income from right-wing think tanks and stuff. I mean, Prager U spends, I think about they have a $10 million budget a year, and 4 million of that goes into advertising. So there's no way that we can compete with a $4 million advertising budget. So what you have to compete with, you have to compete on pure people power, basically. So you need to compete on the idea of like, okay, so we can't win with the money, but hopefully we can win on we have more people that are going to be invested in our tech, especially as like things get worse and worse in the world. More people are going to start looking for things to either console them or present them like solutions to the way things are going. I think the left-wing politics is like one of those big things. Obviously, fascism's the other one, but gotta hope, I guess, that it's not gonna go the fascist way.
Yeah, but more people at all costs. Like in a way, I think YouTube has us chasing like the carrot that's hanging from the stick, if you know what I mean. Like being advertising friendly and being like I mean, it may work for some people. I'm not gonna say yes and no. It's not an like zero sum game, but in a way, you know, this all this cloud chasing is, you know, is there a motivation to make it like a social change, or is it a motivation for the people to massage their egos and say like I have a gazillion subscribers? Because in the end, it's just a gazillion of people who just pressed on a button. You know, you're not even like engaging with them in a way.
So I've had this argument with this kind of ties a little bit, I think, into one of the arguments I had with somebody, which was regards to the argument about like whether the internet even is a good place to, like, you know, is you ever you can actually even do any kind of form of activism or anything on the internet, because they were like, oh, the only activism that counts is activism that exists in the real world, and the internet doesn't count. I'm like, if we as the left unilaterally agree that the right wing has a pipeline, right, that is pushing people towards right wing ideologies, then we're basically stating that we do in fact think that the internet has an impact on people and can push people towards a certain belief system. So why can't we apply that same thing to our own beliefs, right? Why does that? Why is like why? Like, I think with the clout chasing thing, I think that it's important that we have people who are going to get popular, and if those people that get popular can just like remember the fact that they can, you know, that they can basically be that pipeline kind of thing, like they can move people towards the lesser known channels that maybe have more extreme or more like radical stuff that was not going to get popular. That's probably like the ideal way of doing it.
Yeah, I think you
I know,
raised a very good point there. Like the there has to be people that have to get popular, you know, but not all people really. And it's good to keep them in check, like not to get the stars in their eyes and lose focus and you know, go for the sweet what was the chemical substance from the brain? It's too early for me. The sweet spike, you know, of what's melatonin? No, was serotonin? No, what's the
Happy one is
yeah, the happy one.
serotonin or dopamine. Dopamine's the pleasure
Dopamine,
one.
yeah.
That
Dopamine's the
dopamine
pleasure,
rush,
yeah.
you know, that gets you like all the clicks and the buttons and the fans and the cloud, you know, because it's I think
There's any way to prevent people from, as they get bigger and bigger, from like, it must be very difficult. I can kind of understand that if you have a very popular and then you become, and you can almost become a victim of your own success. And is there a way we can prevent that from happening by, like, do you think it's just an individual that's like themselves, or I guess it is like a but prevent that from happening?
Yeah. Also, all I could see that whenever someone mentions like victim of my own success, all I can imagine is the DJ Khaled album cover. Just it always comes with my head. It's just him, just like victim of my own success. Just like it fucking gets me every time. But okay, so I think that's it. So I said a lot of my stuff is focused around social construction and whatnot, which is one of my biggest things. I get stuck arguing with people generally a lot, is the idea that a lot of people kind of like move from this, like kind of go like, oh, you know, is there innate stuff to the way that people operate? And I think a lot of people ignore the fact that at the end of the day, we construct a society around us that effectively formulates the way that we think and formulates the way that we operate. And that kind of a construction, that societal construction, can override a lot of our natural, a lot of like natural or whatever would have been considered natural ideas and impulses, and build that kind of stuff. Which is, I say, we live in a capitalist system, therefore the society that we grow up in is one operated on the merits of a capitalist one. Therefore, there's a lot of stuff regards to like individualistic, success-based kind of like happiness, where your happiness is based on obtaining an increased level of capital, which is, as I said, that's like the big thing for like if you wanted to move to a communist system, we need to effectively change the way that the system operates and the way that the society is constructed, so that people don't have that association. Because I mean that association that wasn't like naturally built into people, like that arose with the systems that have been built up around us. people are reasonably malleable as far as it goes, especially like from like a young age. You can like if you have like the media around them and the way that they consume stuff and all that kind of stuff, they're actually surprisingly easy to influence into kind of things. Which I said, whenever I say that, it always makes me feel like a fucking like evil megalomaniac kind of thing. Just like people are clay that you can turn into anything you want. But it's like people are very influenced by the society, like what's around them, and I think people like to think that's not true because it makes them feel like they're more, they've got more free will than they actually do. But you don't. You don't have as much free will as you think you do. Your free will is ultimately limited by what you've been exposed to while you were growing up. Some people get upset when they hear that.
Yeah, like in a way, it works as an addiction. It works like an addiction. You get used to the thing, and you want more of the thing.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's literally the way that you even interpret what society is literally drilled into you as you grow up, just by what you're surrounded by. Like the literal interpretation that the way a society operates, like I've said this before in a video, like literally the interpretation of the fact that when you grow up, you will ultimately get a job and buy a house or rent a house, and you will pay for food, and you will get married and have kids, and all that kind of stuff. That is all technically socially constructed. There's not like it's there's not like a marriage or buying a house or renting a house or going and working a job 8 hours a day kind of thing is a natural kind of thing that's instructed into us as we grow based on what we see in everything that we consume basically around us.
I call that that one. I call it the narrow path. If you know what I mean, it's way too narrow. It's like them donkeys with the protections on the eyes so they don't look away from where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
For me, it sounds very reminiscent of Gramsci and standard materialist Marxist analysis. Have you read Gramsci at all, Gutian? I'm curious because it seems like those are very compatible ideas.
I am an atrocious theory reader. I just suck at it. I just can't be bothered normally.
Welcome to the club.
If someone can give me like a 5-minute breakdown of anything, I'm normally pretty good. But like
these two, they're like super readers. They read all the time, all kinds of stuff. I think we are more like the it takes me forever. I hear you.
I had to early today was like me doing the quickest possible like breakdown of like for my Twitch stream of what we went over like a bunch of like proto kind of like fascist or like fascist like starting kind of things. So I was quickly reading about like fucking like Giovanni Gentile and like that kind of stuff, and just like learning what their theories were in like 2 minutes, just to keep up to date like a prig. And that was a nightmare. I now kind of vaguely know Hegel, I guess. Not really. I have a vague understanding of Hegel. I know the master-slave construction thing a little bit. Not very well.
I haven't attempted to tackle Hegel just yet. I'm a little bit terrified of that. I'm still working my way through Capital by Marx, and yeah, you lose a little bit because I don't fully understand dialectics as well as I would like to. But yeah, it's a process of learning and growing, and yeah, let's see how it goes. But I think Javi is being super modest there. If I'm not mistaken, I think Javi actually has read some Gramsci, and I think that's very, very pertinent to the conversation we've just been having about how to construct culture. There isn't this just sort of innate human nature or anything like that.
Yeah, but
we
are
able
reader.
to.
I'm a very slow reader. I'm still there.
Me too.
Several weeks later, I'm still in the same page.
That's cool. But I think it is important that we understand like hegemony and how that works to shape the imagination, shape what's possible. I've talked about this guy a couple of times before, Raymond Williams. He expanded on classical orthodox Marxist thought and brought it over to culture, to analyzing culture, to understanding how culture informs what's possible for people to imagine within a given society. If you're consuming movies and cinema and books and texts and everything that tells you capitalism is the norm, capitalism's human nature, then that's what you're going to grow up and you're going to develop to believe, right? But if you're growing up watching movies like, I don't know, let's say we had some in the comments there, people were just talking about Boots Riley's Sorry to Bother You. anti-capitalist, let's say, propaganda, and I'm saying that in a nice sense, you're probably going to start to question those sorts of things, you know. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you, Gutian. I think that we really can the narrative and use that in a way that can be used for true liberatory purposes without wanting to sound like some evil manipulative genius, you know, because I am aware it does kind of sound a little like that, you know, like mass manipulation or something.
But
like
but
that,
what are you
right?
gonna do when you got like people there in this ideological prison of neoliberalism? I mean,
Yeah. Well, at the end of the, like I said, it's quite often it's generally for a lot of people it's just sort of like breaking through to it's finding the most people generally with regards to like that kind of stuff there'll be like one thing that will be like a good enough trigger that like pulls them out of or breaks it down enough that they start like seeing more cracks in it, like an understanding of like what the position they put themselves in, kind of. And for everybody it's kind of different. Like it's not you're not gonna be like one clear and obvious answer for like everyone's gonna work, basically. One I found very easily is literally just to direct them to like do any reading about previous historical societies. If you've ever read anything about historical societies, you basically start seeing very quickly the fact that the concept that we have of our society, like as it currently exists, is the only society that's ever been, is a really silly one, basically, because there's so many different kinds of societies that have been existed throughout history. It's and they've all had like such a variance in like the way that they like structure themselves and stuff, that you start to see like, oh, like a society is basically built by the individuals within it. Like there's like that's all it is. It's society, you influence society and society influences you, is like the general like motto for any like sociology course, basically.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's just like it's such a hard thing I find for a lot of people to like see that, though, as a problem. I think I see a lot of people have that.
And these kind of ideals about like human nature and things like that, and it can be very, I suppose it can be a little bit unsettling for people to have those ideas shaken, you know. I think even people who are like hardcore communists, they'll kind of rely on it's like, oh well, actually want to share, you know, sharing is caring and all these things. And you know, whenever I hear something like that, I'm kind of, I don't fight it. I don't want to fight that idea, because that's like full starting point. So you know, I don't necessarily think that it's super accurate, you know. And then you have these people who sort of try to relate it back to all these like different animals, you know. They'll say, oh well, chimpanzees were competitive and they're pretty close to us genetically, and bonobos were very cooperative. They worked together, they shared, and whenever they had a conflict or a problem, they just had a bunch of sex and everything was fine. So that's the true human nature. And they're both like genetically as close to us as each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's an argument there, but
honestly,
sorry.
Yeah, it just annoys the shit out of me when people presume to know human nature. It's like, that's the laziest, shittiest argument you can ever get. Like, human nature, what the hell is that, right?
So populism basically is effectively it's a type of political discourse and political communication that pops up, especially during times of sort of crisis or times of uncertainty, where effectively a large kind of like a large amount of people start distrusting the established systems and the established media formats and all that kind of stuff, and that basically pushes them towards these kind of either emergent ideas or emergent ways of doing things. And that allows for the rise of like more unique systems or more of kind of new ways of thinking or new ways of doing stuff. Like, so that was like kind of like the previous like kind of populism. The biggest wave of populism we had in the past was early 20th century, when we had the rise of a bunch of different types of fascism and communism kind of like being present in systems around the world. And we're kind of moving back into one of those kind of theories right now, where the distrust of the politicians, of the systems, of the government, of media is kind of like hitting an all-time low in a lot of countries. And like, we obviously, if anybody here knows Steve Bannon, I'm assuming most people know Steve Bannon here.
Steve Bannon, al gulag, al massage dungeon.
Massage dungeon for him.
So Steve Bannon is a good example of someone who is like I said, as much as so this is Prager U is the same thing for me here. Where as much as we as the left like to treat them as like, oh, look how stupid or how silly they look, right? How silly Prager U is because they're all lying, and Steve Bannon's all about lying stuff. I think that's very dismissive of us. They're incredibly good at using populist style tactics. Steve Bannon is a fucking master of populism.
Yep.
Like his populist tactics got the Brexit thing through. It got Donald Trump elected because he knew how to play the system. He knew how to play the popular feeling that was kind of going around there. Dominic Cummings is another good example. Dominic Cummings, who is currently the special advisor to Boris Johnson and is believed to be the one who's making Boris Johnson basically go into what's effectively coming up to like being a unconstitutional breach of the law, possibly next month or something. But like that is Dominic Cummings' work, who effectively is also a very populist like person who thinks that they need to push through illegality if it's needed to get something done. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so populism is basically like, kind of all that kind of stuff, and that's why you're seeing all this kind of stuff popping up now. It's not too surprising to people who can like, so if you have a historical understanding of the way that societies are structured and the way that we've been kind of operating in the past. What happened with Donald Trump wasn't that surprising. And what happened with the UK isn't also that surprising, because how much history do you guys know? How much?
I know some of the history.
Just like I know about 20 years of history.
I've got a couple days of it
I've got
up
20
here.
Years, yeah. Yeah, you like pull all of your like data that you know, and you're like, it's about 100 years of history I know totally. Like if I pull from every possible time that I know, it's 20 years. I'm about 100 years. So the Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, the free market neoliberal kind of like period of time. So if you want to look at a principal moment to effectively point as the people that began basically the spiral into this like late stage capitalism, it was those two, and both of those, Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher are combined effectively responsible for Brexit and Donald Trump. And that's, I said, do people like think, oh, that's a bold claim to make, but no, so both of them have very similar things in the way that they effectively went massive free market, massive anti-union, massive like destruction of industry and whatnot. Ronald Reagan wiped out the Rust Belt. He basically took out that entire central belt of like industry and whatnot. Margaret Thatcher basically wiped out all of Northeast England and Wales industry, which has left both of those regions massively depleted, massively ignored by the sort of like main government and whatnot. I said my family's from Yorkshire, and I've shown people on my Twitch before like pictures of Yorkshire and whatnot, but like most of the landscape is around, especially around like the larger cities, is just dotted with like basically the shut down steel mills and whatnot, because it looks like those like depressing pictures you see of like Ukraine from like the 1950s, is what parts of Yorkshire look like.
Wow.
Yeah, and like West Yorkshire has one of the worst violent crime rates in the Western world. As in, the violent crime in West Yorkshire is, I think it was, it's worse than the violent crime in places like Chicago and shit. Like per person, you're more likely to get stabbed or attacked in West Yorkshire than you are in basically anywhere else in either America or Europe. But yeah, so that's like, but those were the key areas. The Rust Belt and Northeast England were the key areas that basically voted for Brexit and voted for Donald Trump, because they were basically destroyed by this like massive free market, and they were effectively ignored. All of the presidents post Ronald Reagan didn't do shit for the Rust Belt. All the prime ministers post Thatcher did nothing for Northeast England. So they turned to the first people that even tried to talk about them or tried to address their issues. But the problem was the people that tried to address them were complete assholes who didn't have to give shit about what they were going through. I didn't actually want to help them. I just wanted their votes.
I mean,
so, yeah.
a really, really important point to talk about. And I think that after we saw this massive spread of neoliberalism through Reagan and through Thatcher, you saw the Democrats move sharply to the right. You saw Labour move sharply to the right. You brought in the third way politics, right? So they stopped focusing on the working class. They started talking about the middle class. They started focusing on really, really just being a center-right party. Both of them, you know. And this disenfranchised a ton of people, you know, because suddenly the working class just isn't getting talked about anymore. Really from the 1990s onwards, the early 1990s onwards, and yeah, so now people are finally talking directly to the working class, you know, and that's fucking Donald Trump. This, I don't know, like this almost this kind of plutocratic character. What a joke, you know. I'm heartened by the fact that Labour has taken a bit of a.
It's just an American Berlusconi.
An American Berlusconi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. Just doing that little thing.
Is everyone getting like robot Javi?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a robo Javi at the moment.
Okay.
Like an echo after what you.
If you just exit and come back in, it should be fine. It's probably what was happening to me before as well.
Yeah,
but
So if you. Okay, so Javi, if you just want to pop out and pop back in, and then I think we will be good.
But yeah, I think it's a fascinating kind of look into things, and like the left needs to start moving into combating that populism on the same kind of level, because you can't fight populism with factual analysis and factual breakdown and logic and reasoning, because the people that are buying into populism don't like logic, they don't like reasoning, because the last people that use logic and reasoning are the people who are basically saying that like, oh well, I mean, this is like the best choice for you. I mean, like the expert, I mean, literally, like what was fucking Michael Gove in Brexit, that line he said about the British people have had enough of experts, like that's a populist line. It's anti-intellectualism. It's the we can't trust the academics. They don't know the working class people. They don't know the struggles of the workers. So it's the left. A good example is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a very populist left-wing person, but as you just need to look at like the left wing right now and just see like the Democratic primaries, how many Democrats were basically shadowing Bernie policies. Like the Democrat Party has gone more populist in this election than it has in like the past like 50 years, basically.
Yeah, you can really see that.
But yeah.
What way do you think it's going to go now, Gutian?
Okay, you're both asking a question there, so.
Sorry, Catherine. I keep jumping in. I'm such a jackass. You go.
No. I was just going to say, in your opinion, what strategies should we be using in order to tackle like the right wing populism and to to create and what should we be doing, or both as like individually in our communities, but also like on a big scale and on YouTube?
Yeah.
How does that actually work?
Sorry. It's difficult to say honestly, because there's a whole bunch of sort of like different ways that we could do that. I think that ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to be boiling down to the fact that we have to basically utilize a similar kind of like messaging, similar kind of like strategies to what the right wing is using. And that means that it doesn't mean that we have to like abandon our ideals and stuff, but we need to recognize that we can't just rely on like academic stuff anymore. We need to like start looking at like getting people who are doing effectively like what amounts to propaganda videos, and what amounts to videos that are going to be like introductory to people, that are going to lure people into like what we're doing. And it sounds very predatory, and ultimately it is. It's very predatory. It's a predatory. It's like almost every propaganda. It's predatory ideology stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're doing that as a way to sort of stop the more like hard right wing people from taking those people, I don't see an issue with it. I feel like ultimately I think it's a necessary evil, basically, in that kind of regard. So I think the left needs to look at abandoning abandoning this pretension that that we're better than the right wing. Like we don't need to sink to their kind of level of doing things, and we need to kind of see that we do need to go to that level. We need to go to the level of doing these like short videos that aren't incredibly thoroughly researched. They're just basically like maybe they're like the best level. They're like base level kind of fine, just to bring people in, just to. Because that's what YouTube needs to. YouTube needs to use YouTube as a propaganda platform. That's what it can be most effective for.
Totally.
And it's like a minefield, this motherfucker. Like in a way we need to use the media as it is, because the media as it is what is dominant right now. And at the same time we need to be wary and very aware and very careful not to fall into the patterns that this media is built in with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Javi, you're echoing again. It's still the robot voice.
I kind of got what he was saying.
I kind of got it. It was okay, but it just sounded amazing.
For what it's worth, I think the people in the stream are listening just right. It's just this web app.
Okay.
You know, it was a workaround. I can
Okay, that's fine.
can do as much as I can do when things crash on you.
Yeah.
And you're like you have like 5
I know,
seconds to fix everything.
Yeah. It is a good save, though. I got to say, all
Thank
things
you.
considered, it's going
Thank
pretty
you.
pretty well.
Because this is very unappreciated work.
Oh, Javi, we appreciate you so much. And speaking of which, Javi, holy shit, that video you put out yesterday, mother of divine glob, Jeebus Christ, oh my, did you? Okay, just answer me this, and I'm sorry to go off track here, gang. I know we were having a really important intellectual conversation, but Jeepers creepers, did you record that video yourself, Javi? Were you walking around Madrid recording that yourself? Like, was that you with your camera doing your thing?
Yep. Several days walking around town and figuring out what to write about it. I knew that I wanted to make like a portrait of what Madrid was like in my experience, like I was born and raised in this town. So I wanted to make like a fair portrait to show people what the city is like, and why it's similar to other people's cities and why it's different in which ways, but also very subjective. I told you like before in former streams, like I wanted to go like a little bit more cinematic, in a way, in my communicating
success
way. So thank you. It just, and I would really, maybe when we're done with the stream, I could listen to your input like personally, because
yeah, sure.
I want to know what came through from what I was trying to say and what came through. That difference is key to understand how to make better stuff in the future. But
Urban decay.
Thank you. I'm kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm failing at this, being good at marketing, I guess. But I understand the need for this strategy. I do understand that need for the strategy. I know the dangers of let's say, agreeing to use the platforms and working better for the platforms, but I also understand that it's kind of dangerous because the platforms are shaped in the way they are. So
they force us to compete, right?
Yeah, and
we need to keep it in check and be like self-conscious and constantly analyzing and criticizing. We need to have this kind of self-crit, Sorry, that's a bad term to use, but we do. We need to be very critical of ourselves.
It's not a bad thing
all the time.
It's not a bad term to use, man. It's accurate. It's what it is. But
I would quite like that actually. If we could all maybe constructive criticism and like give each other tips and what we know, because all of us have different knowledge about how to do different things, and really help each other out. And
lies. I can do everything. I don't need
anybody.
Give us the solutions, Goosh, please.
Be good.
Oh, okay. That's what you need to do? Shit.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I've been being mediocre. I thought that was all right, but shit.
See what you did there.
This is a meritocracy, okay? Everybody.
And if the,
But yeah,
if the
okay,
system
listen.
fails you, it's your fault.
Exactly. But
That's
yeah,
the message we're trying to get across, right?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, ultimately, at the end of the day, you guys are actually a good example of what I'm saying with regards to marketing here, that kind of thing, right? And this. I'm going to make it very clear to everybody who's in chat, because I'm sure a couple of people in this chat are people that like. I know there's a bunch of the people that watch my shit. I don't want to lose subs today. But I am not coming out here and being like deliberately trying to be mean towards any of the other people in this chat, in this stream chat. What I'm going to say here is literally, it's take it as a professional marketing analytical.
So mean. Goose, you're
commentary.
cancelled. Sorry, you're out. Soz, I can't do.
But yeah,
kidding.
so
Okay,
all of you guys are a great example of people who have channels where your content isn't generating large amounts of growth at all, really. And that's just it's not. So this is one of the things where like I get like a lot of people don't put a lot of focus on like, oh, growth isn't important. And you know what? That's great. If you don't think growth is important, stick to that fucking gun, because that's going to be like the healthiest way of doing videos. Really, is if you don't give a shit about what you're doing at all. But at the end of the day, if you do want to ultimately get your message to more people, get it to a larger audience, then you need to have growth. You need to have an increase in the platform. That's kind of how it works. But so all of you guys are looking through it, because I said I've done stuff with marketing, I do stuff with analytics. I've done 30 years, or what if 20 years was what Non-Compete or American Johnson's done apparently of marketing, which I thought was crazy when he talked about that. I didn't realize he'd done for that long. But I said I've done the marketing and research stuff, but like I said, like all of you guys, I think it's mostly with your like the content stuff. I think predominantly speaking, like if I go into whose channel, who do you want me to critique? Whose channel do you want me to go into? Somebody.
I can take it.
Me.
Give it to me.
Either.
Wow, all of you want it. Okay.
All.
Everybody wants to go now.
Whoever, it's cool.
I'll go into who pops up first on my list, because I'm subbed to all of you. So let's see who I got.
Oh.
Oh, you can critique mine.
I'm subbed to so many fucking people now. I keep like adding anytime someone like mentions like, oh hey, I'm a small YouTuber, like, and I just add them. I just sub them. So I'm like, oh fuck it, like I can sub to people. I can work this out. Okay, so going to your channel here. Okay, let's have a look at this one.
Who's this one?
Catherine.
Mm.
Yeah. So do you how much do you do of like regards to analytic stuff for your channel? How much do you like look into your analytics and that kind of thing?
Sorry, how much do I look into my analytics? Not at all. I've never looked at it in my life. I know.
Okay.
I should look into
Me
it.
neither.
I mean, I look at the subscribers and I look at but I feel like I would find it too like
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just never look at it, but that's probably the problem.
But yeah, so here's the thing. So with the with the with the analytics stuff, it's if you want to build a marketing thing, you want to build a strategy for regards to, okay, what's the best way for me to do this channel in a way that's going to sort of like increase views, it's going to increase people that are watching it. Analytics is very important to that, because it gives you, if you look through all of them, you can, generally speaking, get like an idea of like what sort of tactics, what sort of stuff works, especially with regards to like tags or titles or linking, that kind of thing. Because a good example of like how titling doesn't matter at a certain point is PhilosophyTube and ContraPoints and to a degree H-Bomber Guy. All three of them, generally speaking, they're, especially PhilosophyTube, Ollie Fawn, his titling for his videos is actually not great, but he has a large enough audience that doesn't need to be great for it to be successful anymore. But if you're a smaller person, you don't have the same kind of reach that Ollie Fawn has. So your titling actually does need to be basically everything you do at a small level has to be on point for something to be successful. That's the problem. That's why a lot of people fall, is like kind of like this hurdle sort of thing. So yeah, like, so just this is getting very critical. I hate doing this so much, because it's like I've done like a couple of people that like I've like friends with who have like gone for their channels and shit, and it's kind of who says success isn't making what you want to make. Well, exactly, yeah. It's down to what kind of you define as success in the day as well. And I made that very clear to people. Like, if you define success as you just making videos and you just having fun doing them, do that. Don't force yourself to have to be, marketing successful because you'll hate yourself if you do it. Because no one's designed to no one's really designed to do that if they don't want to. So like growth rate wise, like your sort of daily subscriber growth is about like plus 19 kind of thing, and your like daily video view things is quite low, which I'm assuming is down to the fact that you have like a very slow release rate kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like once a month
So,
or something.
Yeah. So the issue a lot with, I think, with especially with regards to like slow release rates is that you basically need to have like a couple of like really big blow up videos for like a slow release rate to kind of work. Especially these days because the algorithm's changed to the point that it's so hard to break in with like slow release videos. Unless you kind of get like very lucky or whatnot. Like Bradley Speaks did something that just hit like a right cultural marker at the right time. That his video just like blew up like crazy. Like Bradley Speaks is a good example of just like that one thing that would just worked and just hit like at the right moment. There's something to look through. Yeah, see, part of it is it's thumbnails, it's thumbnails and it's titling kind of stuff. So sorry, yet again, I just feel like an asshole whenever I'm doing this. It's like
You should be ashamed of yourself, Gutian.
Yeah, I know. I know.
This is the worst.
No, this
thing.
is really helpful, honestly.
This is absolutely not helpful. You should just come on here and compliment us for everything good that we do. How dare you?
But also, sorry, someone in the chat, Keith the Fields asked if it's benefit putting the channel name in the video title like Ollie does. You don't necessarily need to do that. You can if you want. You can like do title, little thing, your channel name. But if you don't do that, if you don't put it in your thing, put it in your tags. Always put your own channel name in your tags for your video. Because that's like a guaranteed way for it to just come up if people are searching you, or it will come up as like a recommended thing. So it'll keep people like on your videos. So they'll go to watch one video. If they like your video, they'll go watch another video of yours. And that's how you like lure in people. Yet again, very predatory shit. Any marketing thing immediately sounds predatory. It sounds like you're trying to like fucking like get people to come back into a van somewhere. It's so really awkward. But yeah,
is your uploading very regularly and like with I think a lot of what you do is very discourse as well. So is that your strategy, like uploading regularly and very relevant things and like clickbaity type?
Yeah, basically. So it's the titling. I actually have a really good app that I can like link people to, which is it's a free fucking like online site thing. It's the CoSchedule headline analyzer. It's designed for use with news articles, but I find it's very good because basically it assigns specific words like point values, and those point values basically tell you like how much does that kind of like draw people into typing it. So like certain words have more power than other words, which is why like a good example was like I had one that I've done recently, which is my Prager one that I'm actually working on right now. Kind of hits. Where have I got it? I've got it hitting in one of my Discord. I've got a Discord that's just me, and it's just where I post titles and stuff. And the only person in the Discord is me. No one else can see these. So the example is PragerU is not just incompetent; it's a deadly threat. That's my title. And incompetent and deadly are both power words, so they have a lot of grab when people read them. It draws in the eye to them because they're, it's like you have targeting words or emotional words that are like specifically designed to sort of like trigger an emotional reaction to someone and make them go, oh well, I need to know this. Like, it's like here's 10 facts that you need to know kind of thing. They're like, oh well, I'm me, and you're saying I need to know this, so what are they? What do I need to know? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's like a way of like luring people in, kind of thing. It's basically like, so that headline one is like a really good one because it's predominantly designed for like I said, for headline articles and stuff where you don't have like a tag as well, like a thumbnail, which is why you have to, for YouTube, you have to have a really good title and a really good thumbnail. You have to have both of them, or you're not going to do very well. Especially like say if you're like a small YouTuber kind of thing. So like I said, so with your the Epstein prison abolition and sexual abuse one that you released recently, the title, unfortunately I don't know if the title's obviously not. As yet again, gonna sound really mean. I apologize for any mean words.
No, it's useful, honestly.
But so the title's not very good. it's not very good with regards to luring people in.
Yeah.
Because it's free kind of words like the climate change. Are we all fucked? That's a good title. That's a title where you're like looking at it and you go, oh shit, I want to know, are we all fucked? It's like this. It's also fucked is it's a power word, so it draws the eye in. Like looking at it, go, oh shit, like you're using a swear word, like that's something important. Then I guess it's got to be like, I can probably need to read this.
Thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome.
It's a solid title. It's like a well-done title. But that's it. So yeah. So the and also like the thumbnails as well. Like the Epstein one. Like honestly, what I would have done if I was going to be like trying like the one in would have been you keep yourself in the picture. That's also important. I find if people like don't put themselves in the picture, that's really useful. Always have like a image that's related to you in your pitch in your thumbnail. So people like recognize your brand. Like that's your branding. It's like all my videos like now always have my little figure on the side somewhere. So people know, oh, that's a Gutian video. Without even, they don't even need to read the channel title. That's a Gutian video. They know there's my little picture in the thing.
And do you think it would have been better to have had a picture of Epstein as well?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, the picture you've got there isn't one like I don't know what pack is. I don't, there's all this kind of stuff. Like, it's kind of vague. Like I would have had a thing with Epstein, and then what you want to do is Epstein, and then have like some word at the top, like a single or like single one word or two words that like draws the eye. So like so I said so like kind of get what point you want to say, and then like basically boil down your point to just like one word that you think is going to be attractive to people who see the video. Like with Epstein one, I don't know what your video is specifically on, but it's like with regards to like removing prison or something, like maybe like abolish prisons and then like a picture of Epstein kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, that's gonna be like, oh shit, like Epstein's a big thing, like abolish prisons, that's a bold statement kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, that's really, really important. Honestly, a good example of someone who does thumbnails really, really well and titles really well is Slime. If you ever get a chance to like, if you ever want to like look at someone who does titles really fucking well, Slime is like his thumbnails are like key, like they're amazingly well done. Like I would definitely look at his stuff and be like, okay, how do I do something similar? Because they're simple, but they're simple and bold. They stand out. You see those and they stand out to you, and you know it's a Slime one because he has his little like image on there somewhere, so you know it's him, that kind of stuff. So that's a big thing that I do with like marketing stuff. We actually have a bunch of marketers on my trans left tube diversity incubator. There's like 4 or 5 like marketing people in there who like posted a ton of links for stuff that like really helpful, like tag generators, like tag analyzer kind of stuff, which is also really helpful.
Maybe you could give us those links and we can put them in the description box below for anyone who's interested in checking
actually, if you
those
want,
out.
I can hunt them down.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, that'd be really helpful.
But yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. This is like the kind of stuff where like we need to like get. This is the sort of information that you need to get across to people who want to get the videos out there. This is what we need to do, because at the end of the day we don't have advertising money. We don't have advertising money, so we need to make our videos palatable. And honestly, you could put your content could still be the exact same content, but that image, the tags, the title, that's all you need to change is that, and you can keep the content the exact same shit, and it'll probably be fine. So like if people are concerned with like, oh, like what if I had to like compromise my content to like to be okay with YouTube's algorithm? YouTube algorithm doesn't give two shits about your content, generally speaking. It just gives a shit about you like what tags and titling you're using. It gives you about the content for monetizing, in which case the answer is it will never monetize anything that you do ever. It's impossible to get monetized videos. I don't think I've had it. I think I've had like maybe 10% of my videos have been monetized. I think maybe less, which is very upsetting because I don't know why they're getting demonetized, because there's like nothing in them that's even close to like risque.
But bending over to YouTube's monetization rules is not worth it, because you're gonna lose power in the political message anyway.
Right. Also, to be fair though, at the end of the day, an important thing to note is the monetization. Even if you monetized, but you don't run ads on it or something or whatever. But also, it doesn't matter if you really want to run that. Like YouTube's going to run ads on it anyway. It's just you're not going to get paid for it, basically. But also, having them monetized means that they're more likely to recommend them. It puts you it puts you onto a higher recommendation list for the algorithm. So if you're not monetized, then you're going to get pushed to the further down.
Yeah, that's basically the point, because the money on Facebook, on YouTube ads is ridiculously low. So it's not about the money. It's never about the money. It's always about the visibility, because that kind of money is not. I mean, $10 the end of the month, whatever.
If you're lucky, $10.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So it's not about the money. It's about the visibility. You know. And it's nice to have people that can work around those hurdles. You know, one of the things that is good is that there's many of us, and there's many of us, and they can reach out to a lot of audience in different ways. You know, there's gonna be people who appeal to the masses, and there's gonna be people who appeal to smaller groups of people, and I'm kind of okay with that. Because I think the strategy, if we want to appeal to the masses too much, we're gonna fall into the individualistic thing, one channel with a lot of people. So in a way, it's gonna make it like you know, in a positive way. Let's say it has like the potential to reach to people outside of leftist circles, which is nice. And on the negative part is like a cult of personality danger there lurking around the thing. Like, you know, people are get really crazy. I think the you know, all the polemics that happen, all the crazy stuff that's happening around the big ones right now, and how they have to be extra careful in social media. I don't even like calling them big, because they're just people, you know. Fuck that shit. And every other day there's this big YouTuber who has like a meltdown because some drama on social media. And it's because, you know, people get crazy because they become fans instead of and they forget they're like people in itself. And it's so denaturalizing for the very, you know, for the very standard of being a person. It's ridiculous. So in a way, there's another strategy that I like to promote, which is many, as you said, like breadcrumbs or croutons, like I say, many smaller in social capital YouTube, but who are big into making very small audiences, but very, very radicalized and very loyal and very, you know, able to actually go out and recruit people in real life.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can build up these like alternative networks where people are sort of helping each other out and stuff like that. But it's we got to say that it is a lot more difficult, Javi, to do this, because you're actually relying on people to actively promote your stuff rather than an algorithm, an automated algorithm, which has infinitely more power than we as individuals do. And even if we have like 5,000 friends who can like share these things and get the word out, and they can send that stuff to some of the quote big breadtubers who is then going to tweet that out to like, you know, 1 million people or whatever. Ultimately, that's a lot more physical labor than using like an algorithm is. But yeah, you know, but I do agree that we can fight it, but it's difficult. It's a difficult thing.
It is in fact, if we network properly, it is in fact a parallel power structure.
Yeah.
To marketing dynamics, if you know what I mean.
I would agree with that.
It's building a parallel power structure made of people who are connected through social networks to, you know, make social change happen in real life, which is kind of the objective, the end game that we have here on YouTube. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I for me, it does. Sorry. It buys a little bit for me into like the I said I buy into the pipeline theory where if we can have larger, and I said when I say big or larger, I'm purely referring to statistical.
Yeah, I hear you.
State, not actual thing, but like a larger YouTubers or like left-wing YouTubers, their job ultimately should be to bring people in and direct them to people who can basically push them in those kind of like more radical ways. And that should be their ultimate end game or end job. And I think a good example of somebody who is not good at that, who, if anything, is a example of a good failure at bringing people towards left-wing ideas and then pushing that way, is Destiny. Again, it's always Destiny.
Because
but
he's not even a leftist.
Very clearly, he's not a leftist.
Suck them.
He hasn't brought people towards like a left-wing sort of like left-leaning kind of way of thinking. He's just brought them to this like weird centrist point where they hate lefties and they hate righties, and they just hate everybody. Like that's not his one kind of thing, basically.
Perfect reflection of neoliberalism, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, I was talking to my chat earlier on, and we were talking about this because we were watching a shit ton of Prager videos in my Twitch thing. Also, if you guys aren't looking at possibly doing it, it might not be a terrible idea to move this whole stream thing to Twitch at some point in the future. Twitch is a lot better than YouTube for streaming, not just because of like the way that the like actual whole like channel stuff is set up, but also because the networking over there for like for Twitch channels is so much better. Like the whole rating system and hosting system makes it so much better for people to support each other. So like leftist people like have a massive like rating list where like you'll be like constantly getting rated by like other lefty content creators when they go to bed kind of thing. When they like log off, they'll raid you and you'll get like tons of people kind of like moving through your channel, which YouTube doesn't have, and it makes it so hard to like move people towards a channel, move people towards a stream. But yeah, I would advise if any lefty people want to stream, Twitch is a good way to place it. Good, honestly, a great place to go, because it makes supporting you much easier. But I forgot my point because I started fucking ripping Twitch.
It's fine. We're just chilling. It's not a problem. We're just chilling. And there's the Socialist Sunday stream. The idea is just to chill with comrades and be okay. So just don't worry if you get sidetracked. It's super cool. We got each other's backs.
I remember what the fuck it was. Prager U.
I'll be
I
back
was fucking going
2 seconds, gang.
I was going, what's that? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I will instead, I guess, just sit here and.
Yeah, no worries.
I
really like the what Kevin Logan did, the Prager FU. That's glorious. Those are glorious takedowns.
Yeah, as I say, I have a big thing with like takedowns where I'm less. I've become less and less, I think, happy with takedowns where they're just purely takedowns these days. Because I'm starting to feel like takedowns aren't doing enough. I think like just taking down, like just doing like a takedown for a video doesn't do as much as you might think it does. Like at the end of the day, because you're taking down that one video, but you're not focusing on the bigger thing behind the video, basically. It's the targeting systems, not individuals thing all over again, where like if you target an individual occurrence, then a great way of doing a video for that is to go through that individual occurrence to the thing behind it. Like you should, like, talking about just an individual occurrence by itself is great. It's great content sometimes, but it's not. I don't think it actually addresses the bigger issue behind them, kind of thing. Which I kind of like.
Yeah, that's what
I encourage people to do more.
Yeah.
Diversity of tactics and diversity of breadtubers. Like there has to be a takedown somewhere and a deeper analysis somewhere, and both complement each other.
Yeah, or I could just do all of them. I could just be the entire Breadtube. You know what? I'm happy to be the dictator, the dictator of the proletariat. I am fully happy. If anyone in chat wants to elect me as the dictator of the people, I am. I'm not. I will take the burden. Don't you worry. I've studied my Stalin very intently. I think I can do it.
You can be the minister of Breadtube because the dictator position is taken.
Well, that's upsetting. I have to do to you what Stalin did to Trotsky.
Do you have like a specific purpose with your YouTube channel beyond just are you doing something? Are you trying to do something specific that's different from what a lot of other content creators they're doing on Breadtube?
So like originally, I don't know how many people know the story, but originally I started doing the YouTube channel because I'm doing my media studies degree, and part of my media studies degree requires me for my second year to I have to do a CV, and the CV involves all the stuff that you've done during uni, and also you can do outside stuff as well. And I was like, oh shit, if I do a YouTube channel, then I can just chuck all my YouTube shit on there, and technically that counts as like technically work, because it's got filming, it's got editing, it's got networking, it's got sound design, it's got lighting, it's got all that shit. So I was like, okay, cool, I can just fucking do that. It's easy. That's how I started. That's why I started doing this whole thing. But like my long-term goal has always been that I honestly don't. Okay, other people might be able to correct me on this one, but who the fudge? Who the
Oh, swear away. This
There's
is
like
a
a little-
swear friendly. This is a swear friendly channel. Go crazy.
Yeah.
I swear a lot, and then like sometimes I'm always like, oh shit, like other people might have like nicer channels, so I probably just like restrict my swearing.
Nope, not here.
You in the right place.
No, it's not monetized anyway.
New Zealand's very chill for swearing. We have like news people. The people in like the news say like shit and fuck all the time. It's very entertaining.
Yes. Swear the fuck away, gang. No probs.
Yeah. Like, yeah, actually, if anyone wants to do it, look up, this is for people in chat, look up Patrick Gower, This Is the Fucking News. Great video, really entertaining, very funny. But so anyway, so I always feel like, is there anybody else in Breadtube who does anything close to like the like almost kind of PewDiePie style content that I do, where it's like 5 to 10 minute videos that are like really short and really brief and just kind of like cover like really basic shit with like, I can't think of anybody else that does anything like that in Breadtube. I haven't found anybody else who's like doing that kind of stuff. Like, I'm assuming they must exist, but I haven't seen anything from them.
I think American Johnson has done one or two like that, but not consistently.
I think like a lot of the people I noticed, like they either do like these really like long streams, or they do like long form, like the shorts I think people do is like 20-minute videos or like 30-minute videos. And it's like those are great and all, but this is YouTube. Like 5 to 10 minute videos, that's what gets pumped as the algorithm. That's what people fucking click on, is short videos. And they're like, I don't want to fucking waste 40 minutes of my time watching something. Like, I just want to watch like a 5-minute, 10-minute thing. So I'm doing the content I'm currently doing because nobody else seems to be doing it. And that's for the best, because if anyone tries to, I will come to your house and I will destroy your computer, because that's my fucking territory. Okay.
Oh shit! My next video is gonna be 8 minutes long. Fuck! I just recorded yesterday.
I made the shortest one though. I got the record so far.
Gutian now.
The shortest Breadtube.
Oh, that's right. Javi's been killing it. Yeah, it was like, what was that, like 30 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, it was like six seconds or something. I mean, the meat of the thing is just says capitalism bad, and that's as short as it gets. So the intro, and the
to communism.
See you later's are like the longer than the actual content.
But yeah, so I kind of like, I looked at it as like, okay, I'm doing something that, okay, it's the marketing thing again. I'm currently doing something that you can't really get easily anywhere else. So I'm cornering the market on that kind of style. So it was gonna, I hope that's kind of like why I think that's why I've been doing so popular. I don't know. I've maintained a pretty steady like 100 subscriber a day increase for the past like 6 weeks.
That is unbelievable. That's so many. That's too many subscribers. I wouldn't know what to do with all the subscribers.
Yeah, you just kind of like, you jump between, for me it's, you jump between like days of like really egotistical narcissism. The next day you just feel really, really depressed and scared. That's why
the roller coaster.
And it's just, you know, and that's
You'll be well.
I've been
Most
very
of
open
all,
about
you'll
that.
be well.
That's partly because
You'll be well. We want you well.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I've lived a decent amount of my life now being like open about the fact that I've got borderline personality disorder. So yeah. I'm used to this shit. I'm used to this kind of crap, this roller coaster thing.
If you need anything,
you need anything,
we're here. I'm telling you for real right now. If you need anything, we're here.
Wholesome comrades for life.
I mean, yeah, you got it. You got it, fam. All
yeah,
the way.
no worries. I
send
really,
virtual
try
hugs.
to be very open about this kind of stuff, and I tell people to be very open about like mental health and stuff. So I generally try to be as open as I try to be open. Like it's an example thing. Like I try to be open about it. Cause like if I want people to be open about it, I need to be open. Otherwise, what can I expect? I can't expect it from them if I'm not doing it myself, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm generally very clear about it. But yes, I don't know. I just kind of hope that like my YouTube channel is doing something that like no one else can really do, and you know, I've always said to myself, if the YouTube channel, if I somehow did a fucking, I don't even know who's lost like all their subs. What's the channel, the big channels that lost every sub they had?
Oh, some cancelled people.
An example that's on my fucking head, like
I don't want to name any of the
crashed
cancelled
and
people,
burned.
but there have been some people who are like properly cancelled.
Carlos Swindon?
And they just got.
I can't remember. I don't know.
Carlitos, the
Like,
evil?
remember
Carl
Bones?
Swindon- Actually, no,
Dr.
he's
Bones?
Carl Benjamin's still he's got a plus 50 sub a day increase. He's still growing slowly, very slowly.
Is that Sargon? Sargon of Akkad? Is that person?
Yeah,
Is that the
Sargon
name?
of Akkad, yeah.
Okay.
Sauron of Maldad.
Fuck that guy.
But yeah, so like even if say like my entire channel like crashed and burned and died, yeah, like Pro Jared, sure, Pro Jared. If my channel died like Pro Jared's channel,
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I would still keep making videos because at the end of the day, I told myself I'm making the videos mostly for myself at the end of the day. Like I want to make these videos. So even if I had no subscribers, I would still keep making videos. Like I'm not here to do it for subscribers. Like I have to myself, I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool if I could hit like this number of subscribers because that'd be a cool thing to do. But it's not the reason I'm doing this at the end of the day. So it's not like I mean, that shit. Like my goal was, hey, it'd be awesome if I could like get to like 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, sort of thing. When I started out, I was like 1,000 would be so crazy, and it's like now I'm looking at like maybe I could 10,000 by the end of the year, maybe 20,000. I don't know, a number, and it's only going to keep absorbing people from there.
And you know, whatever happens, we'll be
gonna-
faithful. We're your loyal comrades, so we'll be there for you.
Don't do that. If I turn into fucking Destiny, don't be faithful. Just
Well, nah. If that happens, yeah, but I don't think that will happen. That's not a likely scenario. So don't worry about it.
I
We
mean-
got it covered. We'll tell you if it happens in that way. But
Yeah.
we got
I'm trying to
we got your
imagine
back.
how we could possibly get there. How could I see?
Like
How
having
could you turn into Destiny?
How
would it
could you?
happen?
I mean, okay. Can we like Gutian? Would you think it's pretty safe to call yourself some form of a communist? Is that a pretty safe term
Have you
to
seen my
describe you?
channel shit?
I mean, I thought the hammer and sickle. I saw that and I was just like, I've got a suspicion. I've got a
Like
hunch
my
about this guy.
My Twitter thing has a black and red background on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have thought that'd be the dead giveaway.
And so, okay, so I know we said we weren't going to talk about this a little bit. Would anarchists, communists describe you a little bit better? Or?
Ancom and Syndicalist, yeah, somewhere around there. I
And
don't know
Syndicalist.
enough of the difference in them. I
Somewhere.
know like a vague differences, like anarcho-unions or anarcho-fucking communes or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know which one's going to work better in the future because, I mean, both like the old, like the standards we have, like anarcho-communes and anarcho-syndicalists are like from like the fucking like 20s. Like those updates. So they're not very well updated to like the modern context.
Yeah.
Like people have like such like an image where like they think like anarcho-syndicalists and they're like, oh, so we're all going to like live in like these like backwards communes and shit, like where we're like we have to like everyone has to have a job and stuff and everyone has to be working. Like, well, no, I mean, like automation is still going to be a thing that exists, and like it's going to change the way that we view the job, like the way that like we view work. As automation becomes more and more popular and more common, people are going to start losing not just like unemployment, but unavoidable unemployment, where there will not actually be enough jobs for them to do work. And we need to start adjusting to that in ways that aren't just fucking Andrew Yang, because he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, with
Yeah.
political brands, it happens a lot. Like a lot of people go on and align to a political brand that belongs to another country in another century, and go like, "Oh, I'm all the way there." It's like, are you really?
Yeah.
It's all about the context, because like if we start talking about syndicalism now, I mean, we got to understand that the syndicalist movement has been totally co-opted by bourgeois forces. So it's very, very difficult to imagine or conceive of syndicalism in the same way it was conceived of in the 1920s, as you were saying, So ideally, yes, we would be all getting into our workers' unions and organizing that way. I mean, there's like traditional Marxists, like in Ireland, like James Connolly, who were radical syndicalists. But the movement in Ireland, in terms of like workers' unions, it's very, very conservative. It's very conservative. So I guess we need to adjust to the modern circumstances, the material conditions that we're in right now. and that can make it kind of difficult to give ourselves like one specific label, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's social construction again.
Yeah.
We have such a heavy social construction in our heads, and so this is the biggest argument I get into a lot of like my like friends and family and stuff. Is the argument about like, oh, well, what happens? Like, oh, like what happens if people think, you know, don't work? I'm like, why is that a bad thing? If we don't require somebody to work, why do they have to work? We only have that idea of them having to work because we're kind of conditioned to this like idea of like, oh, well, why should I be working if they're not working? Because, you know, like, but well, you shouldn't be working because you have to work. And we can probably get to a point where like work can mostly be a situation of you want to do it kind of thing, or you want to do that job, or you want to go into that kind of thing. Like that would be, I think that's like the ideal future would be people only do work that is stuff that they want to do rather than stuff that they feel like they have to do a job. And it's like I've said about bias until right now, like this is like a big thing that like I see being brought up in like a lot of debates where we're talking about like efficiency and jobs in like a capitalist system, is that I can't remember what the number was, but it's somewhere between like I think it's about 10% now, might be. I think it might be higher, might be 15 now. But that's the amount of jobs in the United States of America that are effectively
Obsolete?
not waste job. What's the word for it?
bullshit jobs.
Yeah, the bullshit jobs. The jobs where the person isn't actually hired to do anything. They're mostly just doing nothing for 6 hours a day kind of thing. But they're there because the system needs them to work for the actual economic system to function.
Yeah.
Capitalism requires you to work to earn money so that you can then go and use the money to buy goods. But that's going to start falling apart. Like when we start getting heavy automation, we start losing more and more jobs. What are people going to do? Like that's the thing. Like we're going to start losing people. Like we're going to start getting more and more bullshit jobs because people will not actually be able to work. There will physically not be enough work to do anything.
Yeah, that spooks me. I go into McDonald's now, and I see those. You know, like they've got these self-service machines everywhere. There's like half the amount of people working there that there used to be, like even 5 years ago. And you go into like Tesco supermarket where I live now, and they've got self-service machines. You know, half of the checkouts are self-service. You know, and yeah, we're going that direction. It's happening. It's not like a distant, you know, future or dystopian future kind of situation. That's now. We're dealing with this right now.
It's just happening until under the wrong social and economic system. That's all.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I want communist automation. I want fully automated luxury communism.
If you don't have those capitalists looming to grab all that surplus, you know, then it would be shared about around everybody, and everybody could work like 2 hours a week, and everything else could be automated, and a lot of people could go on.
It might work like in
it would be fine.
Yeah. I think like in a worker cooperative system, that could work pretty well. But then again, there's also problems with the worker cooperative system, given that it still requires private property, even though it's sort of more collectively owned. And I know there's issues with that as well. So, that's not perfect either.
It's a step in the right direction.
It's a step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you there.
I know. I think that I think because I do a lot of sociological stuff, so that's why I've been focused when I come into like any kind of conversation is the sociological impacts on people. And I think that we need to work on improving the image that we have of people who are jobless and people who are not working. And then we need to change it away from just being a case of like you look at them and you go, oh well, they're not working a job, therefore they're worthless because they're not working in our system. You need to look at it more like, okay, they're not working a job, but maybe they're not working a job because there isn't actually any jobs for them to work. Like maybe there just isn't a requirement for them to be doing work anymore. Like that's fine if they want to do something else. Like maybe they wanted to go and fucking play games full time. I don't give a shit. Like, like as I say, people are like, oh, well, what if you happen if you're like a doctor and you're like you've spent all this time doing like fucking going through and like doing putting all this effort into like doing your research and stuff and like getting through study and everything, and you're working like these like 40-hour week kind of things, and you see people who are like working no time at all. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, we do have some examples of systems where the doctors are. I mean, Cuba is a good example of a system where the doctors were effectively getting paid about the same as everyone else was, and Cuba still has actually Cuba had a better doctor per person rate than the USA did.
Yep.
And still does. So
it's incredible.
Cuba has people still want to become doctors because at the end of the day, we had this idea of like, oh, people only look out for themselves. It's like, well, no, that's just because the system has told you that's what people do. People honestly generally, especially more and more as we move into like the Zoomers, as they like to call themselves.
I love that.
The Zoomers. There's actually a lot of because I actually, as I said, I'm a massive studies person. I love studies. I think they're great fun, but also I recognize that people don't like this too much, so I just kind of like skip past them. But there's a lot of studies into Zoomers and the way that Zoomers interpret social, what their generation kind of like ideals are, and the generation ideals are focused on collectivism, on community, on helping others out and thinking about other people's first. Like we don't see a lot of that kind of thing, but that's the predominant motivating factors behind Zoomers and behind the way that Zoomers interact with each other and other people. And compared to like Gen X and Boomers, their like main things were individualism, liberty, freedom, self-sufficiency. That was their keywords for the generations kind of thing. So we've had over the past like 50 years, we've had this move from an individualistic, self-sufficient, I don't need anybody, like I'm all I need and I'm the best person. I can do this myself. I don't need to rely on anybody. To people being like, I want to help other people. I want to make their lives good as well as my own because I think everyone deserves to have a good life kind of thing. That's the move we've had, and it's a good sign, and it's also a sign for why a lot of people from the Zoom generation are more open to socialism and are more open to communism because their actual generational like ideals are more in line with communism, with socialism. So that's why we're actually seeing a rise. And you don't see a lot of that kind of thing from internet, especially. You don't see like that kind of like statistical stuff. But there are studies out there that show that socialism is on the rise with how people treat it. It's becoming more and more palatable again. It's moved away from like the McCarthy era sort of years where it was, this horrible thing and everyone hated it.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah,
Love it.
It's a taboo. It's a taboo that was created. It was totally artificial. So if we make like socialism and communism like palatable words again, that's gonna be a victory, and it's on its way. Yeah. It's gonna happen. It's happening. Let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I said, this because people and this is what everyone calls the fucking millennials is doomers. We've got boomers, doomers, zoomers, but which is a little bit true. The big keyword for millennials for the generation research was cynical. It was like cynical and just like distrusting. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true. But I try to tell most millennials like, hey, like don't worry, like Gen Z is actually like the kids are all right. The kids, they seem to be actually a lot better than we are. They seem to actually be a lot more keen and open to like these ideas and stuff, and like they're more like invested in trying to fix the world and fix climate change and fix poverty and fix these kind of issues. And that it's actually partly because of social media. Like we like to blame social media as like big, scary boogeyman who's ruined everything. But actually, social media is the key driving force behind this increasing collectiveness in community, in attempts to have other people feel better, because you can see the impacts of it a lot more clearer in social media.
It's kind of both.
People
right?
are seeing those impacts more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have such like a negative view of all this kind of stuff, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it is getting better. It's not getting better quickly enough for us to like kind of see it, but like the future generations are getting better than we are. Basically, they're adjusted to social media. They're adjusting better to like this kind of like the stuff, and they're honestly moving ahead of us. Look at the climate change shit. Like, I mean, all those like kids like fucking striking from like high school and shit for climate change. It was like fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like no fucking millennials would have done that. There's no fucking millennials would have bothered striking ever. That wasn't our shit. Our shit was more just like, I don't know about anybody else from high school, but I didn't give a shit about politics in high school. I was very South Park. I don't care.
Yeah, me too. That's such an accurate way of describing it.
Just not be involved in anything. But yeah, but so it's I know that like I know that like listening to a lot of like online people can be quite can be a little depressing sometimes, but like things are getting better. Don't worry, people. Things are getting better. We can do this. We as people can actually fix these problems. We can do this. I believe in us. I mean, shit. Hong Kong can fucking fight off China. We can fight off the capitalist bourgeoisie.
Yeah, definitely. Like in a way, in a way, if you come to think about it, they're maybe not as powerful as they want to seem. Mostly it's a matter of optics. Like the system is not as powerful as it wants to pretend it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about it.
I love seeing
what
like
you guys think
sorry.
about it.
In terms,
Everyone's waiting for someone else to
in,
talk.
Go for
Go,
it, Catherine.
in
Catherine.
terms
Go,
of
Catherine.
I don't know if you I don't know if you touched on this whilst I was like away, but I just wanted to ask you about like away from YouTube on the ground things. Like, what do you think is we should all be doing in our communities, and how, like, yeah, what do you think is the next step forward for all of us, like on the ground in real life?
See, on the ground is ultimately the day it's the on the ground work that you do is going to ultimately be very specific to the area of the world that you live in. It is to some degree it's a lot more regionalized than the sort of actions that we can take on the internet, because it's down to really like what situation is your country in, like what's happening in your country right now, like what's the big thing that you can actually go out and do. So it's like, okay, if you're in Brazil, fucking go and try to organize shit against Bolsonaro, try to organize stuff against the regime, try to fucking help the native peoples who are being fucking burned out of the land and shit. Like, organize on that kind of thing. If you're in America, organize around people like Antifa, organize around stuff like with regards to trying to like push socialist change coming up into like the election next year. If you're in the UK, organize around trying to deal with Boris Johnson, organize around trying to basically stifle that fire, like, because that's a thing that's burning quite badly right now. It is very varied. It's down to where you live, kind of thing. But it's, I said, take the Hong Kong thing as like an encouragement sort of thing. Like, this Hong Kong is, as much as like I've seen like a lot of right wing people, especially Paul Joseph Watson was in there for some reason. Don't know why. I think because someone had a Pepe the Frog flag, so he just like appeared when that was like pulled out, as he's known to do. But Hong Kong is this kind of thing where the right is trying to like portray it as, oh look, these people are fighting against the evil Chinese communist people, but I think this is going to backfire on them greatly, because it's not saying that so much. Like, all people are seeing is a bunch of people fighting against armed police and an armed government, an armed authority, and that's exactly parallel to if you see like armed police and shit in the US. Like, people are kind of already starting to draw the dots of like, well, hang on a second, like those police look exactly the same as the police I'm seeing around like my fucking hometown. Like, they've all got the armored vehicles, they've got the fucking full riot gear all the time, they've got like assault rifles out all the time. Like, maybe they have more in common than I think. Like, I think the right is trying to spin us in a certain way, but I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to backfire pretty hard, because it's one thing. All it's showing is the fact that the power of a large group of people against a government, and that's shouldn't. They really, I don't know why the right's playing it, because the right should not be playing it at all, really. Or they need to be working a lot harder and trying to like spin it more into like, here's a bunch of American loving people who want to join America, which actually I've seen a couple of people do. I've seen some people who've been trying to push like, hey, Hong Kong wants to become part of America, which don't let that happen. That's a fucking terrible idea.
It's like something happens in Asia, and everybody in America and Europe and whatnot are trying to capitalize on it. Just take it to their side when it has nothing to do with anything quote unquote Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Christopher Szabo had a really good take on this, where, they made this really sort of pro Hong Kong protesters video, and then they took it down, and they made this comment that actually said, well, I'm not really 100% sure that this is like a workers' movement going against the government or going against China or anything. And so actually, I think the result, and I could be misrepresenting, I'm sorry if I am misrepresenting you, Christopher, but my takeaway from that was that you just didn't really have a strong opinion on it either way anymore, because it's all pretty confusing. It does appear to be two bourgeois factions going against one another, and I kind of feel similarly, where I don't really have a strong perspective on what's going on in Hong Kong and China. I don't know. I wish I had a good take on this, but I don't know. I'm kind of trying to get away from that thing that we do on the left where everybody needs to have like a really strong opinion about every single thing that happens in the world. You know, like I think it's okay just not to have an opinion on something. You know, that's kind of where I fall on it. You know.
Yeah, it's a very common pattern.
Yeah, definitely back that.
Yeah, because you know, it's sometimes the hardest thing to say on something is I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, that's
I
me
know
right now.
Yeah.
I know all the things about everything ever. I'm the smartest. I'm Destiny. I'm the smartest person.
What a tool! What a tool that.
It's beginning. It's happening.
Can't wait when
But actually, shit,
can't wait for the moment where Destiny
that was the point.
crashes.
Yeah, it might happen. It might not. To be honest, he's very popular and like he's still maintaining a lot of popularity. He hasn't seemed to really lose. He's very he works very well for the capitalist system though, so I think he'll be fine as long as capitalism's around.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I was actually, this is what I was going to say. I remember what it was now. Is that I said this in my Twitch stream, and I think I said this earlier on here. Actually, was the fact that Destiny reminds me an awful lot right now of Prager University.
Yep.
I said that beforehand, but yeah,
the grifter vibe.
In what way?
I'm not sure if you said that live.
The takes that he has with regards, especially with regards to like lefties, and with regards to like the whole like leftist, like the opinion on like left theory and leftist leftist positions and whatnot, is exactly the same kind of positions that I see used in Prager videos, where it's like some of the most like lazy fucking like capitalist propaganda shit of like, you know, like stuff like fucking like, you know, like they're all tankies, or they're all fucking like you know, it's like communism killed this many people, like it's clearly like a bad system, or like whatever. Like it's the laziest representation I think I've ever seen.
The straw man left.
It's it's just like it's like the weirdest thing. But yeah, it's just I was watching Prager and I was like, holy shit! Like all the things they're saying are literally the exact same shit I've seen Destiny tweeting out on Twitter, and I was like, fucking hell! Like this is a real sad point to hit. It's saying the exact same shit that Prager was saying. That's a low point. If you ever find yourself doing that, you've hit a low point in your career. You might want to like reconsider what you're doing with your life if you ever find yourself saying the exact same shit as Prager University. There's a professional opinion for you here. If you ever find yourself like echoing the same shit as they do, just have a look at yourself really fucking hard in the mirror, because something's not right.
Reconsider your life.
Reconsider everything that you've done up until that point.
How many wrong turns you have to take in life to get there? Really, where did it all go wrong? But well, when I was 12, this one time I googled alt-right shit, and no,
you guys asked me, okay, you three then. Why are you doing YouTube? Why are you doing platform stuff?
Spotlight's on us.
Yeah.
Who wants to go?
You fucking turn this on me.
Oh shit! You got us. Does anyone want to take that, or will I jump in?
Katie, you go first.
Go first.
Oh my god! First,
Catherine, I think Javi wanted to suggest Catherine. Catherine, do you wanna go first? No.
Sure. So when making YouTube videos, I guess when I first kind of started off in like, well, years ago, I was more of a liberal back then, and I think I kind of got into a lot of like zero waste. I was really into fighting against climate change. I was really into like watching a lot of these like vegan YouTubers, but they were really problematic because they were like really liberal and very elitist a lot of time on all this like zero waste stuff. Like, and I kind of got sucked into this idea that the way to solve climate change was for your individual lifestyle actions rather than an intelligent system. And then I think I started watching other YouTubers that kind of brought me around to recognizing that, like a privileged vegan, that made me recognize actually the systems and structures in place that mean that these individual lifestyle changes aren't going to make any difference, and actually that it's contributing to the problem with promoting this kind of stuff. So yeah, then I became more of an anti-capitalist, read a lot more, had a lot more like real life experience for that kind of thing. And I also just felt like there weren't that many women talking about politics on YouTube. I guess at this point there are quite a lot more, but still politics in general and on YouTube is very male dominated. And I kind of wanted to like have a voice on here, especially as when the majority of women on YouTube are like beauty channels and lifestyle and fitness, and it's all about your appearance. Well, and I'm not saying a lot of them do have a lot of skills, and you know, there's nothing wrong with having an interest in beauty and all of that. But when it makes up the majority of what young people or people in general are seeing that women to be represented as on this platform, I think it's really problematic. And I kind of wanted to be like just one tiny person, kind of counteracting a lot of that. And then I felt like potentially my individual experience. Well, everyone has their own unique experiences which can be helpful, and I think in particular with sexual violence and stuff like that, I really wanted that to be discussed a lot more, because I hadn't seen that much about that sort of thing, which I had more personal experience with. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of counteract a lot of the messaging, and also because at the time when I first was watching anti-capitalist stuff, a lot of it felt very when I was like a liberal, it felt like very attacked. I felt very attacked when I watched a lot of stuff, and I kind of wanted to have maybe a more like calm, like kinder approach maybe to how I was like forward ideas, because but nowadays there are a lot more people that have less of a like upfront kind of approach, and which is very useful, but that's kind of where I come from.
Nice.
Success. Yeah, successful so far. Javi, do you want to go with your... Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say as well, I also was, I think other than Mexi, I really don't feel like there's that many leftist channels that talk about environmental issues and climate change, which I think is quite a problem. I don't know, correct me wrong, but I feel like there really aren't that many. That I guess actually, that being said, now like H1 guy and like the bigger people have recently made a video about climate change. But in general, it's not something that's often discussed, I feel.
There seems to be like a little group of people doing that now. Like obviously a privileged vegan was really good for that. And of course Mad Blender, Leslie from Mad Blender is great for that. She talks about social ecology in one video, and it's incredible, you know. But yeah, it's always good to have more people.
I think that that's our ecologist vanguard there. That's fantastic.
Anyone want to complain about vanguardism?
Didn't
we good?
I think the Serfs did one video with Kevin Logan that was like a nature documentary. And see this animal here? They're fucked. Do you remember that one? Oh, that was glorious.
I don't think I saw that one. It sounds great.
It was like a bigger video, and it had like the Kevin Logan piece in there, and it was fantastic. It was also about climate change. So those people touch those issues too. And off the top of my head right now, I can't remember more people. But then again, my brain is like a Teflon. Things go right past me.
Goldfish Bane, life. You know the feeling.
Yeah, right. So you go, Paul. Come on.
And Paul and Javi.
What up?
Okay, all right. So mine's gonna be kind of a drag, kind of a bummer. Okay, so kind of like some people, you know, you start the channel one way and it goes a very different way later on, right? So here's something that's gonna be kind of a bummer for people to hear about. After my dad died, one thing that I noticed, you know, when I was going through the grief process was that I didn't really have any like video footage of him, and I think that would have been really comforting to have had. And so I had this idea that it might be nice just to make a few videos and put them up on YouTube for anyone to see, just sort of like chronicling my life a little bit. And so that, like, you know, if and when I die, people will be able to say, oh, that's Paul. We can go and hang out with him, you know. I'll go watch a few videos of him. This is what he thought about things. This is who he was, etc., etc. Okay, so that was like the original idea I had with my channel, which, yeah, that's kind of a it's not exactly probably what people were expecting, but that didn't really go anywhere. I just made a couple of videos. Some friends and family watched them, and after like 3 or 4 videos, it was just me saying, "Hey, I exist. You know, these are my thoughts. This is what I'm doing in life at the moment," and it wasn't really going anywhere. People got the message. But what happened last year was, I've got a lot of friends on Facebook who are in Brazil, and I noticed that a lot of the people who I cared very dearly about were supporting Bolsonaro in Brazil. And so I decided to make a video to, I suppose, push back against Bolsonaro and to just say, like, hey guys, please don't vote for this guy. He's literally a fascist. Like, literally, not figuratively, not metaphorically, literally a fascist. So I made this video, and like, if you look at my channel, it's like the first video that I have up, and it's, you know, not him, never him. Like, it's in Portuguese, and it's yeah, only a few people watched it, but really I only wanted like my friends and family and people who I knew like personally to watch that. But I got a few more people checking it out, and during the process of making that video, making this left-wing propaganda, I really liked it. I realized that I actually really enjoyed that, and so I decided, okay, maybe I'll just keep on making more propaganda, and so I did. So I just decided I would continue doing that. I was kind of taking a Trojan horse perspective at the start. And I know that there's a YouTuber at the moment called Combabe Clem, who Catherine has done a really good video with, just maybe
That was a
few
great
days ago
one.
or a
Oh
week
my
ago or
God.
something like that.
It was so good.
Amazing. Really good. Hey gang, we're gonna do some makeup today. Also, you know what sucks? Capitalism. Let me tell you why. You know, it was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Loved it.
I love that thing.
Really great. Loved it. I really like that channel, actually. Put a lot of big hopes for that one. Anyway, so I originally did that on my channel, just talking about my own circumstances and things that were kind of relevant to me. Like, I made a video about like English language teaching in Dublin and really relating that and situating that within capitalism. And yeah, people took notice of that. A few people watched it, a few people shared it, and it started to grow. And yeah, so I just kept going with it. This kind of gets on to the point, like, different points that we're making though, Gutian, which you were talking about earlier on. I would just talk about this and this and this and this and this, and I'd always just sort of, you know, tie in this anti-capitalist, vaguely communist, vaguely anarchist kind of stuff, you know. But I don't know if I have like one clear message to give people. I mean, it's kind of been summed up in the most recent video essay style video that I put out, which is just, you know, literally called Communism, you know, and that's literally saying, hey gang, we need to do communism. Let's do it. I don't care how we get there, but we need to do communism. So let's go. And that's kind of the message of my channel at the moment. And yeah, I'm making a few more videos sort of related to that topic. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Just want to do some you know, full-time communist propaganda.
Are things clearing
yeah,
up? Like, are you able to make more videos soon? Like not live, but
yes.
Cool. What's coming out?
Yeah, they
the
are.
pipe?
It's actually great. So I actually just yesterday I recorded. I finally made that video about nudism, nudism on the left.
Cool.
Which is going to be a ton of fun. I know it's such a weird topic to talk about, but there's some good connections there that are worth thinking about. It's more relevant, I think, for like kind of like, yeah, you know, lifestyle anarchists who are very into like sort of autonomy and stuff like that. But you can actually connect it to larger movements. There's a lot of connections with colonialism in terms of people actually being forced to wear clothes, of sort of pushing this. Pushing gymnophobia on people. Gymnophobia, that is to say, the fear of being nude or being naked in public spaces. So yeah, that's the next one coming up. The one after that is going to be on the Irish Republican Army. People have requested that I make a video on the Irish Republican Army. There's a lot of questions that people have about the Irish Republican Army because some people are like, okay, were they communists? Were they socialist? Like, what were they? Was it just like a big tent organization? What was it? And there's so many different iterations of the Irish Republican Army that it's difficult to say it's one thing or another. We can say that they were all left wing, That's pretty clear. They're all anti-imperialist organizations. You know, they were some of like the original anti-fascists in Ireland. You know, they would break up like fascist groups organizing in the 1930s and stuff. But yeah, there's been factions who are more like democratic socialists, or factions who are more like Marxist Leninist, and yeah. So I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail and try to answer some more questions that people have.
So many
that.
similarities
that's kind of
to ETA. So many similarities to the Spanish, to the the Basque Liberation Group, ETA. So many similarities. You're talking about it, yeah. I can figure right as you speak. Fantastic. Sorry.
So this is again kind of like a liberation struggle, right? So or an autonomy kind of struggle for these people, right?
Yeah. Like that there is so many of them. I really like that the many iterations of a militant group that, you know, becomes labeled as terrorist, and then everything changes.
Yeah. I mean, did you I always loved like reading about like the Welsh miners and shit that went to Spain during the Civil War. That was quite funny. The ones that like just like fucking like they would spend like most of the time fighting against like the British government to try and get them out of fucking Wales, and then we're like, okay, we're done with this now. That's where we go. It's like, fuck, let's go to Spain, I guess. So just a bunch of them just went to Spain to go and fight fascists in Spain. And then they also were fighting the unions in fucking northern England against Margaret Thatcher. Welsh miners are fucking everywhere. Welsh miners are like the key leftist organization, and they just vanished the past like 10 years, 20 years. Actually, no, they died because of Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher killed the Welsh miners off.
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
We got some badass miners here in Spain.
I don't think anyone likes Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have like some really badass miners.
I'm really excited for your next video, Paul. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, two things at once. Double the fun. I didn't actually hear what either of you said. I heard Catherine and Javi talking, and I wasn't sure.
Go,
I was just
saying
I'm excited for your video.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're excited about it. I've been trying to make it for about 3 months now, and but you know, gang, you're gonna love this, right? I was checking out Bad Empanada, and I noticed on his Twitter a couple months ago that he said that he got like what are they called? You know, like when the writing is on the screen, you just read the writing as you're talking. A teleprompter.
Yeah.
I've never used one of those before, like ever. It was like, so for me, like recording a video was like a really arduous task. It would take like the full day, and every line of like a 3,000 or 4,000 word essay would have to be memorized like in my head, and then sort of like acted and performed out in front of the camera, and it was hell. It was really difficult. And just a couple of days ago, I downloaded this little teleprompter app, you know, taking Bad Empanada's lead, and I was just like, holy shit, this is like you could film a video in like 15 minutes. This is what, you know, something that would usually take like 8 hours is taking like 15 minutes. This is unbelievable. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to check that out, and hopefully I'll be able to use the teleprompter for the next one, and it's gonna be a little bit quicker. Does anyone else here use teleprompters?
No. If you've watched my videos, you'll notice that like my eyes dart around the place. I have just a notepad, and I just like read the notepad up and scroll down, and it just like so my eyes like bounce up and down from like the camera to the notepad to the camera to the notepad because I'm too lazy and I can't be fucked.
Yeah, but you're articulate enough to pull that off. Like I'm just like a rambling, fumbling mess whenever I try to do that. So
I'm also British.
As you can hear.
I feel you, Gutian. Yeah, I do the same.
English. You know, English.
I used a teleprompter for the first few videos, but I think maybe because I wasn't used to it back then, but I just sounded so much more boring than I sound now because it just sounded like I was reading off the screen, which is exactly what I was doing. But maybe if you can like read but simultaneously sound like interesting, then it's fine. But I just couldn't simultaneously do both. I don't know, did you find it harder to act very dynamic because you were reading off the screen?
Yeah. I guess like, there's also the thing, like this is another thing that like, I know it doesn't get covered enough, but like also in regards to like doing well and stuff, if you have a male English accent that's like more like a neutral English male accent, you'll do pretty well. It's considered one of the most authoritative accents in the world.
Yeah.
In that it's it's just taken more seriously than any other accent, effectively. So you just sound more like you know what you're talking about, even though you probably don't. And that's that's why I can't do any. I'm never going to do any voice work because this baby's bringing in the money. So, can't lose that. Can't lose that.
I gave up on
It
that
is funny
shit.
when we talk about accents and stuff like that.
I gave up on that shit.
You give up?
Yeah, I gave up on that shit. That's nobody takes me seriously in real life. Like I have like the opposite effect. Like I'm usually right, and people don't believe shit of what I say. So I gave up. I have what I
believe what you say.
call the Cassandra syndrome. You know, like Cassandra is this mythological character that who was like Zeus tried to hit on her, and she was like, nope. She did the cobra, and she, and Zeus got mad, and he in return let's say replied with what do you call it, a curse. And the curse was that she would have like very precise and very accurate and very true epiphanies. She would view like in the future, and she would have like these visions that are like super good and accurate and true. But the curse is that when she's talked to people, nobody will believe her. So I call it the Cassandra syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really gave up on
Then
that.
some guy comes in and says the same thing.
I think it's one of the
and
reasons why I
suddenly it's a great
started.
point.
That's one of the reasons why I started all my videos with you're so clueless and so am I, because fuck that shit. I'm gonna say okay, you don't take me seriously. I ain't taking you seriously either. Like we're all at the same level, and if come to think about it, if you're like super honest about it, everybody is winging it, no matter how authoritative they sound. Everybody is winging it. We're all winging it, even the most secure and the most authoritative people in the world. Everybody is winging it, and whoever tells you the opposite, they're lying through the teeth.
Yep, absolutely. I'm definitely winging it anyway. I wanted to say a point though, when we talk about like accents and stuff like that, because if anyone in the chat is from Ireland, you'll notice that I have a very like international Irish accent. It's like, so as an English language, curb my accent. I need to make it much more internationally friendly, so that people will be able to understand me and they'll get things. And because like the way we speak in Ireland is actually, it's quite different to the way I'm speaking like right now. It's kind of like a code switch. Just little things that we say in Ireland, like for example, "Howie, what's the crack?" Like that's what we say instead of saying like "Hello, how are you?" That's what we say in Dublin. So it is a strange thing where like I have to sort of perform this more kind of neutral accent. Otherwise, people either don't take me seriously, or or even at worst, they won't respect the way I'm saying things. I'll sound less intellectually capable. So yeah, it's a weird one.
Shit, do you think
it's one of those things again where I
sorry, the lag is a
Go ahead.
terrible thing. Do you think that in this series, the Dairy Girls, they're using it like in a slightly racisty way?
I haven't actually watched Dairy Girls. I watched about 10 seconds of it and I thought it was dog shit, and so I turned it off. Sorry, is that too extreme?
No, I kind of liked it actually.
Fuck are the Dairy Girls?
It's a
Netflix
TV
I watched
series.
it and I just thought it was really yeah, I didn't really like it very much, so I just turned it off. And yeah, sorry.
I must say
Sorry,
that I do love
what
that.
are you talking about, Abby? What was it called?
It's a TV show called Dairy Girls, and yeah, I don't know. It's very Catholic and stuff, isn't it, or something? I don't know. It's very churchy, and yeah, I just kind of want to get away from that stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Gutian, you were trying to come in. You've tried to come in like 2 or 3 times now. Jump in there.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's sorry. Now my well, we've hit like we're currently at 1:20 in the morning, so
Oh my goodness.
No worries.
Yeah, it's super late.
I'm very slow. We're working on it. My brain's just ticking through everything. I've been like fucking downing like coffee and sweets like crazy just to get myself going, which is fine. That's my daily diet anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I was just saying that I was before we got into the Dairy Girls thing, which has derailed whatever I was going to say now to a degree that I don't even want to bother now. If you have a spare time, a really good Netflix series to check out is Lovesick.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's a free.
Let me check. Lovesick.
Yeah, it's like a free season British comedy kind of thing. I think it's set in Scotland. But it's like a British season, so it's like 6 episodes per season kind of thing. So it's pretty short, pretty sweet. So
nice.
Yeah, it's just really it's a really enjoy it as like a series go.
Great, I'll check that out. We're looking for some good stuff.
But yeah. Also, here's a serious question. What would you say is the worst? This is for everybody. What is the worst? Like the worst, as in like the one where you'd be least happy for people to know that you enjoy it, like pop culture thing that you get into, like music, TV series, movie, whatever.
I think Eurovision, but I made a video about it. We made a video. Actually, Paul was in it.
We did, yeah. We were in on that with Amelia Jane and Kevin Logan. That was a ton of fun. Jeez, I don't know. Guilty pleasures. Does anyone else want to jump in on their guilty pleasures?
It's really hard. I sometimes like watching accounts, but like these like vloggers like on YouTube that have like millions of subscribers that don't doing anything. They're really boring. They just like show you what they're eating. They show you their like day-to-day life and. Like sometimes super rich. I have no idea why I like watching it. Maybe because their lives seem so like simple, it makes me like calm me down if I'm feeling stressed. But I don't know. I guess they're like popular for a reason though. I don't know why that is like those kind of videos are so popular, but it would be cool if I could do like a communist version of like a blog channel.
Sorry, Catherine. Sorry.
I mean, I would like to have like a communist vlog channel.
Can you?
I would like to have a communist vlog channel. That'd be pretty sweet.
Can you try and restart again because the sound is going through the. It's going crazy. Did you guys hear what she was saying correctly? Maybe it's in my end.
I heard it was like crackly as shit and like very.
Yeah, I heard
delay and.
Yeah.
Robotic.
Okay.
It was like eight things at once.
Yeah.
Can you drop off?
Yeah, it was
the
like
call
that for me.
and
I could
go
make
back
out what
in?
she was saying, but it was difficult to hear.
Can you drop off the call and come back in and then say the thing
okay.
again?
Okay, well,
sorry about that.
I just remembered. Yeah,
Okay.
I got one that I just remembered. I fucking love these Christian propaganda movies, these horror movies like The Conjuring and stuff like that. Oh my fucking god, I love them so much. They are so awful, and I fucking love them so much. I can't even. It's absurd. I love them so much. I watch all of them, like Annabelle, everything. They are fun. They're so much fun. It's like a roller coaster, a really shitty Christian propaganda roller coaster, and I fucking love them. So yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. How about you?
Oh, I'm gonna open the floodgates here because everyone's ones have been like so chill. We've got fucking like vlogging stuff and like fucking Christian horror movies. So I as much as I hate this such series so much, I am a persistent viewer of fucking Family Guy.
Oh yeah,
it's so bad. It's such a trash TV series.
It's trash, but I like it as well.
Just when I like don't want to think at all, I just like turn it on and like occasionally like it's like dumb version of humor where it's not actually really funny, just somehow works.
It's comforting in a weird.
And then just pulls out some like fucking homophobic shit. I'm just like, oh, why am I watching this?
Yeah, they do that.
Why am I watching this series? This is terrible. Although actually, honestly, their most recent season had a pretty decent transgender video. That was a surprise. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
So it was like it opened in a way where I was expecting I was like already prepared for it to just be like a fucking downward sloping piece of shit because it opened with like what fucking Peter used a non-binary toilet, sorry, gender neutral toilet, but it wasn't a gender neutral toilet, it was a transgender toilet. So everyone like assumed they were transgender because they used the transgender toilet, which is like I mean such a thing as a transgender toilet, but all right, I'll give fucking Family Guy a pass because I was really waiting for like something bad to happen, and then like they like he like went around like pretending to be transgender basically,
Right.
and then he got really weird because like he basically got like he got a free surgery done effectively, so they like he like got a free like genital surgery done, and then it kind of like the whole episode like ended with him basically like being like basically having like he got like his like friends started treating him differently, his family treated him differently, and like he like started like seeing like the downsides to being trans in society, and like ended up going to like a bar where he met the Quagmire's mother, who was like the first trans character on there, which was like a really bad representation when it happened.
Yeah.
And it's just like run through like 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 it's not like what you like seem to think it is from like the media and stuff. Like it's actually like hard, it's actually like shit, and it's just not like it's not the fun thing you kind of think it is. So it's like it's honestly like as the episode goes, it's actually surprisingly like well, it actually like came out being like really well done. I was like, oh shit, like that's actually not a terrible like thing. And also like kind of like hit like home with like the fact like Peter like was really upset about like he was like he kind of like addressed like the whole thing of like him like feeling like he like his like him like losing like genitalia and stuff was actually like a big deal to him and everything. It's like, oh, like this is actually like I don't really think about it very much, but like I don't want it to be gone anymore. Like this is like that was like a thing that like helped me feel like the way I was kind of thing. I was like, shit, that's actually a weirdly like woke take. And I was like, what the fuck? It took them like 4 episodes with trans people before they finally got one right. You know?
Yeah. It's great
They
to see
got
that
it eventually.
progression. Yeah, it's great.
Got there
Yeah,
eventually.
that's really good.
A million seasons later.
Just, yeah, it was at like what, like 9 seasons, 10 seasons it took them. Yeah, they got there eventually.
They got there eventually.
Never
It reminds
too-
me of South Park, the most recent season of South Park, where the last 2 episodes of it were really woke. In terms of workers' rights, they had like these Amazon strikers. One of the workers in this Amazon fulfill warehouse falls into the machines, gets all messed up, like almost dies, but they end up getting packaged by the machines and becoming like a box, and they become like the Marxist box, and it gets up onto these soapboxes, and it starts rallying people and organizing workers' strikes. It starts expounding socialism, and it basically platformed the Communist Manifesto. Like, unironically, like it was actually saying like socialist values are the way forward. So that was really surprising to hear from South Park, which has always been so painfully radically centrist, and so disaffected and privileged. And so, yeah, there might be a pattern that we're seeing in shows where they're kind of waking up a little bit, Catherine, I think now it sounds really good. The audio sounds perfect and stuff. Do you want to jump in?
Oh, really? That's good. I don't know. It's hard because I feel like so much of what I end up watching is probably problematic in some ways, like how Friends is. Yeah, I definitely watch a lot of these like vlogging of people's daily lives. I don't know. I just think how other people live and what they do in their days and stuff, even though most of the time it's just really boring, they just show you their cat or like what they. It must be some appeal. I am just really interested what the appeal of these kind of vlogging things are, because you would think that most people would find it so boring to watch their day, but is it because we've all become so alienated that there's like an epidemic of loneliness that we feel like to when they tell us about their day and things like that? I don't know. I'm not really sure what the appeal is, but yeah, I like watching that sometimes. Rap, some music that's really like, I don't know, some rap music which isn't that.
I think the keyword that you said is loneliness.
Yeah.
There was this executive from the Spanish Telecinco, which is like the Italian Telecinque, is like the trash TV channel, and TV, alas, it's still very big in Spain. So there's this big executive of the trash TV channel in Spain, and he was talking in some interview like some of the record thing, and it was like leaked afterward. Like he was saying something like in the lines, somebody was asking him like, oh, why your shows are so trashy and still you get like the peak audiences. And it's like, yeah, because you guys are trying to cater to quality, you're trying to cater to engage people, but we're trying to, what we're focusing on is like a cure for loneliness. We're trying to cater to loneliness. So it's all of the reality shows and bullshit gossip debates and everything else. It's like a catering to lonely people in their homes. I don't know if it's making sense. If it's kind of connected with what you just
Makes
said.
sense.
Yeah.
Sad. Very profoundly sad to see
Yeah.
where our society is, but yeah,
By the way,
this alienation.
Catherine, I'm so glad that your audio fixed because I want to hear more of you. I feel like we're not hearing enough of you.
Well, you might hear. Okay, so you guys want to if you have any more questions you want to ask me specifically, this would be the time to do it because I am dying fast, so I'm
It's
probably
like-
gonna be bouncing. So
It's like silly o'clock in New Zealand. So
Okay.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
probably
Let's wrap it up then.
In half an hour as
Yeah.
well. So
Okay,
Sure.
fam.
Well, gang,
Yeah.
we can always do this again. We can and we definitely will do this again. Gutian, thank you so much for coming on. It was absolutely great to get to know you, to have these conversations,
Yeah.
and to have this amazing advice that you've given us for growing our channels, growing our brands.
oh god, don't make me feel like this. Don't
Thank
do
you
this.
so much. And could you
Don't make me feel
No, it
gross.
really was. It was great.
please send us you would think we would find helpful, because I really would like to improve at this
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe
Yeah, I'll see what I can easily like.
you
chuck
could make a
the-
YouTube video.
I may actually do. I've got a YouTube video. Actually has all the links in it. It's my hold on so you can find my channel. Plugging my own videos. A guide's getting started making content. So the links below that, the actual video itself is shit. You can just ignore that. But the links below that, I have stuff with regards to cheap hardware, a whole bunch of film technique stuff. This is the thing I see people ignore the shit out of. Don't ignore film techniques. Lighting, composition, and setup, webcam setup is massively important. But yeah, I've also got I've got the thumbnail, I've got a title thing, I've got a tag thing down there. As well, like resources on that video goes.
Brilliant.
But yeah, just like tells you like kind of what the best way to do all those kind of things goes, because those are all three things that are algorithmically super important. Like yeah, your content can be as good as you want to be, but if the algorithm stuff isn't working, then it's just not going to see as many people as it could be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if we're propagandists, then we want our messages to get across to as many people as possible, right? We
If
gotta
you want
hand
to
out
be
as many
seen as
leaflets
propagandists,
as we
then
can.
That's
Yeah,
how you gotta go
totally.
about it.
Yeah. And I do. So
Someone in the chat just said the Surf's Discord has a channel of tutorials, and yeah, I would also agree. Like they're great for tutorials and things. Thank you.
Conquest of
My
Dread.
tutorial is in fact on there.
We'd love to have you, Conquest of Dread, on a Socialist Sunday stream. We could do another